Hello everybody, today back in another video. Oh boy, my tennis friends all around the world. We had 128 players when this tournament started. And we only have 4 left men standing now. Novak Djokovic, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Karen Khachanov, and the surprise player of them all, even though he has been on the tour for quite some years, but he is for sure the biggest surprise from these 4. The player I'm talking about, of course, is Tommy Paul. These are the 4 players that are left on this Australian Open 2023. 2 of them was on my radar, 2 of them was on my top 8 favorite list, and those 2 are of course Novak Djokovic, who is my number 1 pick to win the tournament, and then Stefanos Tsitsipas, who is my number 2 favorite and my number 2nd pick to win the tournament. Tommy Paul and Karen Khachanov, I must say, I didn't have them on my radar, my tennis friends all around the world. So those 2, Karen Khachanov is playing his 2nd ever Grand Slam semi-final and his 2nd consecutive Grand Slam semi-final. We all know that he played his 1st ever Grand Slam semi-final last year's US Open, where he lost in the semi-final against Casper Ruud in 4 sets. Tommy Paul, he played his 1st ever quarterfinal in the Grand Slam stages, and now of course he is also playing his 1st ever Grand Slam semi-final in his career. Alright guys, let's do these previews without any further ado. I will start with the first match, with the first match I want to preview is between Stefanos Tsitsipas versus Karen Khachanov. The head-to-head is 5-love to Stefanos Tsitsipas. So obviously Stefanos Tsitsipas knows how to play Karen Khachanov. Obviously Stefanos Tsitsipas seemed to own Karen Khachanov. Obviously Stefanos Tsitsipas, most probably he doesn't fear Karen Khachanov, because the dude has never lost to Karen Khachanov. They have never faced each other in the Grand Slam stages, never. This will be the 1st ever meeting in the Grand Slams. So let's see how they will match up there. But anyway, Karen Khachanov, they kind of have same kind of game style when it comes to strengths. Both of them have big serves, both Stefanos and Karen Khachanov. And both of them have pretty big forehands. But in my opinion, when it comes to serving, maybe Karen Khachanov has slightly better, maybe has a slightly better first serve, maybe, but that can be discussed. It is even Steven who has the better first serve, Karen Khachanov or Stefanos Tsitsipas. But when it comes to forehand, Stefanos Tsitsipas has a better forehand than Karen Khachanov, at least according to me. His forehand is more consistent. His forehand doesn't go away like it can do with Karen Khachanov. Karen Khachanov has also a huge forehand. Don't misunderstand me whatsoever. But Stefanos Tsitsipas' forehand is just more reliable. Stefanos Tsitsipas' forehand will not go in vacation. He plays his forehand, Stefanos Tsitsipas, with bigger margins. He has higher net clearance than Karen Khachanov. Tsitsipas can hit his forehand flat as well, but he has more margins in his forehand shot than Karen Khachanov, who can hit his forehand also with margins, but Karen Khachanov hits his forehand more. It is more like a flat shot. And Karen Khachanov doesn't have margins in his forehand like Tsitsipas has, and that's why Khachanov can do more errors with his forehand. Anyway, in my opinion, Stefanos Tsitsipas' forehand is a more reliable shot than Khachanov's. So in the forehand to forehand battle, I think Tsitsipas will win that one. When it comes to backhand, Both of them have weak backhands, according to me. Both of them, their backhand gets a lot of attack from their opponents. So when Khachanov and Tsitsipas faces opponents, the opponents like to play the balls into their backhand side because both of them has a backhand as their Achilles heel. But Tsitsipas is the more, he can slice it more. He slices more than what Khachanov does. Khachanov doesn't slice a lot. Khachanov hits his topspin backhand much more than Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas he can slice. Tsitsipas is better at the net. Tsitsipas does a better serve plus forehand game than Khachanov. The third shot, that is where Tsitsipas does his biggest damage against his opponents. Nobody does better job in the third shot than Tsitsipas. Maybe not nobody, but he's for sure top 3 in the world. Tsitsipas is top 3 in the world in doing damage on the third shot. Serve, return, and then boom, the point is over. And there, Tsitsipas also have an advantage over Khachanov. When it comes to returning, both of them are pretty weak returns, according to me. But I think that this match will be won by the player who serves better. I think Tsitsipas will be that who will serve better. That is my feeling. I think that this match will be won by the player who does the biggest damage on the third shot. I think that that player who will do the biggest damage on the third shot will be Tsitsipas. And I think the player who will be more reliable, more consistent, more aggressive at the net will be the player who will win this match. Is the player who will be more consistent, more reliable, and the player who attacks more the net. And that player who will do all that, I think it will be Tsitsipas. Look, I have picked Tsitsipas to go to the Australian Open final 10, 12 days ago, and I'm not going to change my mind here. I don't think it will be easy for Tsitsipas. I don't think so. I don't think we should take Khachanov lightly here. Even though that the head-to-head is a really big favor to Tsitsipas, and Khachanov has never defeated Tsitsipas, Tsitsipas is not Djokovic, Tsitsipas is not Federer, Tsitsipas is not Nadal. He is not a GOAT member. He's not a Big Three member. He can be defeated. And Khachanov is probably playing his best tennis of his life. He's playing his second consecutive Grand Slam semi-final after US Open last year. And he wants to make it a step further and wants to play his first ever Grand Slam final. Tsitsipas is playing his 4th Australian Open semi-final in his career and his 5th Grand Slam semi-final in total, because we all know that Tsitsipas also made the French Open final 2 years ago. So Tsitsipas is playing his 5th Grand Slam semi-final, and Tsitsipas will be really hungry to play his first ever Australian Open final after failing in winning his 3 other Australian Open semi-finals. He really wants to make it a step further. I believe he has lost 1 against Nadal and 2 against Medvedev in Australian Open semi-finals. This is his best chance for Tsitsipas to make it 1 step further. He is the favorite in this matchup against Karen Khachanov. Against Karen Khachanov. He's the favorite. And for me, I think that he will deliver. I believe so. Of the reason I said, because he has the better first serve, according to me. He has a better third shot, according to me, and he will be the more reliable, he will be the more consistent player than Khachanov. And he also has more variety in his game. He's not one-dimensional like Khachanov can be. Khachanov, for me, he has some kind of a same game style like Rublev. Big serve, big forehand, but not so much variety in their game. So, considering all this, I picked Tsitsipas to win this semi-final against Khachanov in 4 sets. And I believe Tsitsipas will play his second Grand Slam final in his career and his first ever Australian Open final in his career, and defeats Khachanov in 4 sets. Now we go to the second Australian Open semi-final, which is between Novak Djokovic, the most complete tennis player of all time. Never seen a more complete tennis player than Novak Djokovic. He has all the tools. He has everything, my tennis friends all around the world. He doesn't need any presentation who this guy is. He is one of the greatest tennis players of all time, if not the greatest tennis player of all time. He is one of the most complete, no, not one. He is the most complete tennis player of all time. He has everything. Serve. A very underrated serve. Man, his serve is so underrated. His serve is so good. He has such a... He hits his spot so good. He finds the angles. He finds the tee. He finds the wide. He does a big damage behind his serve as well. He is great in the third shot. He doesn't get a lot of credit with his third shot. Third shot, you know what I mean. Serve, return, and then he does damage, bam. And the difference between Djokovic and majority of other players, because many players try to do a lot of damage in the third shot. Many players. And majority of the players do it with the forehand. Majority of the players. You name it. Berrettini, Rublev, Tsitsipas, Nadal, Dominic Thiem, the peak Dominic Thiem, not nowadays Dominic Thiem. You name it. Djokovic is one of the few players who does damage with both wings on the third shot. Both with forehand and backhand as well. He is one of the few who do it. Zverev is also another one who can do it because Zverev has a rock solid backhand. And nobody does as much damage on the third shot as Djokovic do with both wings. I'm talking now about both wings, I'm not talking about one wing here, which he's not number one in that department. Players like Berrettini, Tsitsipas probably do more damage on the third shot if you count one wing, because Berrettini and Tsitsipas does a lot of damage on the third shot with their forehands. I'm talking about both wings, and nobody do as much damage on the third shot with both shots as Djokovic do. Both with forehand and backhand. When he lands his lethal first serve, his spot serving, when he hits those spots, which he does almost every single match, he will get a short return and he just steps into the court and just do winners, both with forehand and backhand. Djokovic has unbelievable returns. Djokovic has unbelievable defensive skills, unbelievable offensive skills. He can create offense. His transition game from defense to offense, he can do it in a couple of seconds. And now, if this was not enough, and now, I've not talked about this much, what I will talk about, which I will mention now, so much, if not at all, on these videos I've done during Australian Open. He has bumped himself with some pounds of muscle. He has beefed up his body a little. He has done it. I can see it. And now he can also generate pace with power, which he couldn't do a couple of years ago. Take Djokovic from 2021. He was thin. He is not as thin anymore. He has beefed up with some muscles by tennis fans all over the world. And that has given him a completely different game. Not completely. It has given him much power during his shots. Djokovic has always had power. He doesn't look that so much on TV, because I know people who have seen Djokovic live, and they say they say that watching Djokovic live and watching Djokovic on TV doesn't make justice into analyzing his game, because when you see him live, you get shocked how hard he hits the ball, and that you cannot notice on TV so much. But now when he has beefed up his body and he has gotten some extra pound of muscle, he is even more dangerous. He can generate pace now. He can hit through the court much more now. He has much more firepower now than before. And that's why he hits the ball. He hits the ball even heavier now. Because you know, guys, I've said in the past, he lacks firepower. That's why he cannot hit through Rafa Nadal on clay courts. I want to see a Rafa Nadal Novak Djokovic clay court match now when Djokovic has gotten beefed up with muscles. But that is another topic. Considering all this, Djokovic have everything, all the skills. The only thing that I can give him little critique about is his overheads, but even that, man, he has improved. I've seen him hit a lot of good overheads during this Australian Open 2023. He will face Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul, the new version of RBA, the new version of Carreño Busta, PCB. That is how I feel when I see Tommy Paul. The new version of Gilles Simon. He pretty much has everything, Tommy Paul. Pretty much. He has the serve, he has the return, he has good forehand, he has a great rock solid backhand. He doesn't miss so much with his backhand. So Tommy Paul will not be afraid in going in challenging Djokovic in cross court backhand exchanges. He will not be afraid. And he can rip the ball with his forehand as well. He can do it. He reminds me of he's the new version of RBA, PCB, and Gilles Simon. That is how Tommy Paul reminds me about. Just with a bigger serve than those three. I believe that Tommy Paul has a bigger serve than RBA, PCB, and Gilles Simon. That is my feeling. He's not a fast demon out there. He's not a speed demon on the court. So he is not, but he still is not a bad mover. Say like he's not any Raonic. He moves better than Raonic and things like that. So he covers the court pretty good, and he plays tennis with pretty good margins. He doesn't do a lot of unforced errors. Look at the match against Ben Shelton. He did 43 winners and 26 unforced errors. He does 17 more winners and unforced errors. And he did a great match in the serving department as well. He lands 66% first serve in. He won 86% behind his first serve. That is a lot. 86% winning points behind his first serve. That is a lot. That is huge. Alright? And he won 68% behind his second serve. That is also great. If you look Ben Shelton, he won 76% behind his first serve and he won 47% behind his second serve. So 76% that Ben Shelton won behind his first serve is a great number because Ben Shelton has a huge serve. He did 24 aces, I believe, against Tommy Paul. But Tommy Paul was punishing Ben Shelton's serve pretty badly. He won only 47% behind his second serve. Ben Shelton. So Tommy Paul has pretty decent returns as well. And another thing that Tommy Paul is good at, he's good from the baseline. He's not afraid in going in long exchanges. So I think that Tommy Paul can challenge Djokovic. I don't think that Tommy Paul will win as little games as De Minaur did in fourth round, 5 games, and as Rublev did in the quarterfinal, 7 games. I'm pretty convinced that Tommy Paul will win more games than those two dudes did. I'm pretty convinced. I'm convinced. Maybe Djokovic will prove me wrong because Djokovic has been in great mode level, man. He has been in great mode level, both in the De Minaur match and against, especially in the match against Rublev, Djokovic was definitely in a great mode level. But Tommy Paul needs to have a great game plan. He needs to attack Djokovic in the middle of the court. He can't give Djokovic too much angle because if Djokovic gets angles, if Djokovic is on the run, both forehand and backhand, he is great when hitting the ball in angles. Tommy Paul needs to hit deep, hard in Djokovic's feet, so Djokovic can find angles himself. And there he's not as when Djokovic is forced to find angles from the middle of the court, it is more difficult for him than pushing him in the corners. Another thing that Tommy Paul needs to do is to dictate. Tommy Paul cannot stay 2-3 meters behind from baseline and letting Djokovic bully him around, because if he does that, it is like Tommy Paul doing suicide. Another thing, maybe this is the most important thing for Tommy Paul, is Tommy Paul needs to serve big. When you are a weaker tennis player than your opponent, which obviously Tommy Paul is than Djokovic, you need to start great from the first shot. Which is the first shot in tennis? It is when you serve. When you serve. When you return, it is returns. But when you serve, when you are having the tennis balls in your hands, you are doing the first shot. And he needs to make sure, Tommy Paul, that he has a lot of first serves in. 66%, it is a good number like he had against Ben Shelton. He needs to have even more against Djokovic, because Djokovic is not Ben Shelton. Djokovic is a 21-time Grand Slam champion. Djokovic is a consistent machine. Djokovic is a consistent beast. Djokovic is a consistent terminator. Tommy Paul needs to land more first serves in than 66%. 66% will not be enough. Trust me, my tennis fans all around the world. He needs to have over 70% in landing first serves in to have a chance, because Djokovic is an unbelievable returner. Tommy Paul will get shocked when he will face Djokovic, because this meeting will be the first ever meeting. They have never faced each other before, because he has not seen this kind of opponent. He has not seen. All the 5 opponents he has faced so far in the tournament, it is a completely different beast he will face now. A more consistency machine, a better returner, a better server, a more clutcher player. Everything Tommy Paul has seen so far, not only at Australian Open, but in his entire career. Everything he has faced so far in his entire career, Tommy Paul, it will be a completely different animal he will see on Friday. Because he has never faced Djokovic in his career. This will be their first ever meeting. So, Tommy Paul, he needs to raise his level even more. Even though he has played some great tennis, Tommy Paul, all credit to him, the level Tommy Paul has shown so far has been good enough in defeating 5 opponents at Australian Open 2023. This level needs to be raised even more. On Friday, a beast mode level Tommy Paul needs to show up. If he has been great mode level in 5 matches so far, he needs to step it up even more. He needs to be in a beast mode level on Friday, because he is facing the most complete tennis player of all time. He needs to serve big, land a lot of first serves in, and he needs to do damage immediately in the 3rd shot, Tommy Paul. He cannot go in long exchanges with Djokovic. He cannot. Because if the rallies go over 6, 7, 8 shots, then it is advantage for Djokovic. Even though that I trust Tommy Paul, he will not be afraid in challenging Djokovic from the baseline. He will not. I'm pretty convinced that Tommy Paul will do a better job than de Minaur and Rublev. Rublev and de Minaur, they could never really challenge Djokovic from the baseline. They couldn't. They didn't have the stamina, they didn't have the consistency, they didn't have the shot tolerance, and most importantly of all, they didn't have the belief, my tennis fans all around the world. Rublev, he was defeated already before the match started, when he defeated Rune in the 4th round. He said, I don't want to face Djokovic. What do you think Djokovic feels when he hears things like that? He knows that he's the winner already if he doesn't injure himself. If he's held on the court, he knows that Rublev is a defeated man. Tommy Paul has not talked like that. He said, I want to face Djokovic. I'm in my shape of my life. Is it a time I want to face Djokovic? It is now. And that kind of attitude I like with Tommy Paul. He's not showing fear, which Rublev did. Especially Rublev. He showed fear before the match started, and he was a loser before the match started. Tommy Paul is not showing that kind of fear. So Tommy Paul needs to do all these things. He needs to serve big. He needs to do big damage on the 3rd shot. He needs to be consistent on the baseline and challenge Djokovic. And he needs to hit deep, hard in the middle of the court and not give Djokovic too much of angles. And most important of all, he needs to take his chances when he has them, because Djokovic is the clutch monster. Nobody is more clutch than Djokovic in the big points when the chips are down. Tommy Paul needs to challenge him when the big points arise, because Djokovic plays his best when the chips are down. If Tommy Paul do all these things, he has a great chance in challenging Djokovic really, really good. But in the end of the day, I believe Djokovic will be too consistent, too solid, too sharp, too powerful, and will defeat Tommy Paul in 3 close sets. And I will think that we will see a Australian Open final 2023 between Novak Djokovic, and Djokovic will play his 33rd Grand Slam final in his career, and Stefanos Tsitsipas will play his 2nd Grand Slam final in his career. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace!